The mind is one of the most significant roles it plays in fighting cancer, because cancer is a very emotional disease. And one of my best mentors that I've come across, and you can research this lady, and I highly recommend that you do, her name is Carolyn Leaf. What she is a neuroplastician, and she studies the brain. And what they have found now, it's basically common sense that we've known all along, but how you think actually impacts your health, and it impacts it down to a cellular level. In fact, when you think negative thoughts, you actually release toxins into your body, and these toxins have the ability to blow the receptors off of your cells. What receptors are, they're like gates, and every cell has gates because there's chemical reactions going on inside your body millions of times a day. And these gates, they open up and they close, and they let chemicals in and they let chemicals out. And if the gate or the receptor is gone, now anything can get into that cell, and it can actually corrupt the cell down to the DNA. And that's what cancer is. It's rogue DNA. It's cells that have gone off the reservation, and they have a no-die switch. In fact, they have cancer cells today that are alive for 30, 40 years after the host has been dead. They're in a petri dish, and they keep feeding them, and they keep living. Cancer is a nasty, nasty disease. So we want to find every way that we can to fight it. And one of the best ways that we can fight it is with a good attitude and our brain. Because with our brain, we have positive chemicals, and it can actually change the structure of what's going on inside of our body. So I've learned, and it's a choice, and it's not easy, but I choose to think positively, and I give a lot of this credit to my faith in God, because He has shown me a path, and He's given me purpose, and He's given me a reason to be doing these things. In fact, you people watching this are part of the reason why I do this. It's part of my journey. I would compare myself, if any of you went to Sunday school as a little kid, you might remember the Bible story of Jonah. And Jonah was a guy who was told to go to a city called Nineveh, and God wanted him to go there to talk to the people and tell them to get their act together, because God was getting really ticked off at him, and He was going to wipe them off the planet. And Jonah didn't like the people in Nineveh, and he didn't want to go. And so he decided he wasn't going to go, and he took a ship and he went in the opposite direction to Joppa. Well, I've never heard any audio from God where He told me anything, but if I ever did, and He had told me, John, I want you to walk through this door labeled cancer, and I will bless you, I would have been arguing with God, and I would have said, find someone else to bless. I'm not going. I'm going to go with Jonah, and I'm going to go to Joppa. But you know what? I would be lying to you if I told you that cancer has not made me a better man. That was one of the hardest statements that I've ever made in my entire life. It's made me a better person. I'm more compassionate. I'm more empathetic. I'm more sympathetic. I have a deeper desire to want to help people. So God has used this in my journey to make me a better person. But it doesn't mean it's not hard, because it's very hard. And in fact, my son Mark, one day, my older son, he came over to my house, and he had noticed, because it can be an emotional roller coaster, and he'd seen the whole journey, and he'd seen how I had moments where I was like on the mountaintop, and then things would happen and I would start going back into the valley, and he was afraid that I was going to stay in the valley. And I could understand why, because I had spent a lot of time there, and I used to be a victim, and I don't ever want to be a victim again. And it's so easy to take that role when you have cancer. It has to be a choice. So one day my son comes over and he goes, Dad, I have this video that I want you to watch. And he says, you know I love you. And I said, of course I know that. And he says, well then please watch the video, and I think you'll get it. And this is something that you can Google. It's really good. It's called the Backwards Bicycle video. The name of the guy is Destined Smarter Every Day. And it's a video about an engineer. And he had friends, and they had developed a bicycle that goes backwards. And they said, we bet you can't ride it. And he goes, well, what do you mean I can't ride this bicycle? I've been riding a bike since I've been 6 years old. And they said, well, you can't. And he goes, well, what's different about it? And the only thing that was different is if you turn the bike to the left, it goes to the right. And if you turn it to the right, it goes to the left. And he goes, that's a no-brainer. I just have to remember that. And so he gets on the bike and he couldn't ride it more than 10 feet. And now it became a personal challenge. And so he learned how to ride the backwards bicycle, and it took him 9 months to do this. But now he can do it. But the rest of the story is, can he ride a normal bicycle now? And the first time he went to ride a normal bicycle, guess what? He couldn't do it. But the scary part was, it only took him 20 minutes to unlearn the backwards bicycle and to relearn how to ride a regular bike. And what my son was telling me was, Dad, you've done all of this hard work learning how to be positive, to be uplifting, to be encouraging, and now I see that you might be slipping, and I don't want to see you slip. I want you to stay on that backwards bicycle. And I got the message, and I said, son, you're right. It would be so easy to fall back. And so what I did is I got back up and I started riding that backwards bicycle again. And that's my challenge to you. This journey is not easy. You need to find purpose. You need to find reason. You need to find motivation, but it's well worth it. Look around. I'm sure there's people in your life who would miss you, that you love, and that you care about. And just join me. Keep riding that backwards bicycle. Keep having positive thoughts, not negative ones, because it does play a larger role than what you'll ever know in your total health and your recovery and your ability to beat this disease. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.